They dumped me in a shelter 300 miles away, but I came back unrecognizable. My parents tossed me like trash. Years later, they were begging for mercy. Here's how I turned their hate into the ultimate revenge. I was 16 when they did it. A freezing November morning. No goodbye, no explanation. Just my backpack, $20, and my father's last words echoing in my ears. Let's see how she survives. They dumped me 300 miles from home, at a homeless shelter in a city I didn't even recognize. Why? Because I wasn't the pretty daughter, the easy one. I had opinions. I asked questions. I existed in ways they didn't approve of. But what they didn't know, that abandonment lit a fire in me no amount of cold nights or hunger could put out. I scrubbed floors at fast food joints by day and studied under flickering streetlights by night. I got my GED, then scholarships, and by 25, I had 2 degrees and a tech startup that exploded literally overnight thanks to one viral app I built during a brutal winter in a rented basement. By 30, I was a self-made millionaire. And still, they had no idea who I was becoming. Until one day, they walked into my office. That's right. My parents' age, broke, and bitter had unknowingly applied for janitorial work at one of my branch locations. The very startup they once mocked. My name was nowhere public change for legal and safety reasons. But the moment they saw me, their jaws dropped. You look like our daughter, my mother whispered. I smiled. Funny, you said I wouldn't survive. They stammered, begged for jobs, claimed they'd changed. And me? I handed them cleaning uniforms, with my logo stitched on the chest, and walked them through my building, my empire, while they tried to hide the shame flooding their faces. But it gets better. The twist? I didn't give them jobs out of pity. I gave them 1 week, just long enough for the media team to capture their story repackaged into a viral From Trash to Triumph campaign. The abandoned girl who built an empire from a shelter and unknowingly employed the very people who tossed her away. They became a symbol of failure. I became the face of resilience. When the story aired, investors tripled. Shares skyrocketed. Their names? Dragged. Their faces? Meme-worthy. I fired them the next morning with a check just big enough to remind them who held the power now. You see, revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it looks like success. Sometimes it smells like your name on every floor they mop. And the best part, I didn't just survive. I thrived. In front of the very people who tried to destroy me. If this lit something inside you, if you're done being the underdog, then hit subscribe now. Because on this channel we don't just tell stories. We rewrite destinies. Turn your pain into power. Make your haters regret ever doubting you. And don't just rise. Rise so high they can't breathe your air.